Hey everyone, I hope you're doing well. It's been just over a year since I released a video exposing Grums and his involvement, and very heavy involvement, in his game formerly known as Em-8er. I wanted to give people an update on what's really happened since then, and it seems that there's some fuckery afoot. Potentially $50,000 or more worth of fuckery. And no, we're not talking about the $50,000 that was allegedly siphoned from Red 5 Studios towards his non-for-profit League for Gamers. This is about lying in recent marketing materials to get more money, and it's insane. Just added on top of the $600,000. We'll get to that, but I think we have to recap what a bad and crazy year that Grums has actually had. It's bad. In the last year, he's had his crowdfunding practices exposed. He lost the rights to the game he's been working on for almost a decade to a rival developer named Grummz, who released an actual game called Em-8er about a guy named Mark getting cut by Yasuke and someone named Lady Concord. And he actually lost the battle with Steam to reclaim the name to his game. Well, rumor had it that he was going to go with Gate Striders after that, and Grummz took that too, and it's kind of fun. His mortal enemy Ubisoft knows about Em-8er and burned him on social media when he was trashing Assassin's Creed Shadow with simply, "Our game is out." Well, that's embarrassing. It gets worse. He got outed as the creator and producer of adult catfight content. And if you were a lesbian catfight fan in the mid to late 2000s, Grums and his alter ego Debbie Chan may have helped bring you to completion. Isn't that a lovely thought?
Within your hands, I will get as big as I need to be.
Grums coming in with the assist when you're lonely late at night. It's fucking terrifying. It's gotta get a little darker here in a second though. Like, it's some pretty odd fetish content, but I guess he knows what he likes, both in written form and in video and photos.
I am no pervert.
I'm just kidding, Grums, you silly little freak. Oh, and there was also record of him having an email address called PrettyLittleGirl16. And in 2005, his Russian catfight site had to close down because of changes to US law, needing age registration. Now, that doesn't mean that anything bad happened, but take what you will from that. Now, I don't really care that Grums was a sex worker in the broadest sense. I don't think he was in any of the films, but he produced, wrote, filmed, all that stuff. I do have a problem with the Pretty Little Girl 16. I also have a problem with the outsourcing to Russia and Mexico for cheaply produced adult content. And the abrupt shutdown of them does raise some reasonable questions. But it's a weird double life to have, especially when you're the CEO of the company you founded, that company's failing, and people are complaining that you're never around. And Grums was forced on live stream to watch himself getting exposed and having to answer for it. I don't think I've seen a more epic crash out.
You got nothing, and you're gonna get 0 views just like you always have for your entire duration of your YouTube campaign. And you know what? You're getting an FBI report next week. I'm sorry.
The video that he's referencing now has over 600,000 views. We also learned a little bit more about the CEO of Crixa Labs, Grum's mother.
You know, fucking my whole family was involved. Do you know that my mom was a Playboy bunny? That she could go to Hugh Hefner's mansion at any time? And she says, Hugh Hefner is a very nice man.
Is that all this is? Anna posed a really good question, though. How does your mom?
Right. Dude, when I was in college and I put her picture on my cabinet, she looked so young they thought it was my girlfriend. Okay.
Jesus, that's horrible, man.
My mom is
those Asian genes.
She was smoking.
Geez, with those genetics, it's crazy that Grums didn't become a model. But don't worry, I believe Grums saw this as a positive thing, that he was going to get all sorts of nude pictures sent to him. You know, the sex symbol that he is.
You know what's going to happen is that after this stream, because 10 years ago when I did Gamergate, I had so many women DMing me their tits and DMing me everything else and trying to get with me, and all this is gonna do is encourage.
I would love to know, like 6 months later, did any of that happen? Did this encourage that? But a big part of his bad year was Em-8er, and we're gonna look at that. There's videos from me, loads of other people that back this up, and Grum's worst enemy is often himself and his own mouth. We'll be taking a look at everything from when Em-8er started until now, including fairly recent shadiness. The idea of Em-8er started in the summer of 2016 with a Change.org petition. About 6 months prior, Grums received a lien on his house, owing tax payments of about $250,000. This is relevant as people talk about and wonder where their money may have went. His mum is the CEO, just like the adult content company as well. And there could be a perfectly legitimate reason for it, but still fucking weird. The development of Em-8er started with some Indiegogo campaigns, labeled M1, M2, M3. M1 was for a website and forums, and he raised $3,000 for that. Keep the forums in the back of your head because they all seem to be deleted right now. M2 was concept art. He raised $23,000 for that and delivered on that, just like he did on the website and forums. M3 is where things really fell apart. In total, he raised $114,000 between that and PayPal, at least that's what it indicates in the comments. And he committed in July of 2017 that in 6 months the playable mock-up should be ready. A month or two after that, the Kickstarter. Well, that didn't happen. Now, this is why numerous of the 1,800 backers have voiced dissatisfaction. You know, things get delayed, life happens, totally get that. But it's been at least 10 times the amount of crowdfunding that he's indicated, and well, over 8 years later. Dude is almost a decade late on what he considered to be a 6 to 8 month deliverable. And people trusted him because he used his name, he used himself as the creator of Firefall in order to get that funding. If he was a nobody, he wouldn't have got anything. Now, the obvious reason people supported this project because they wanted the game. And to accomplish that, he said he would have 1, a playable mock-up in 6 to 8 months ready to go, 1 to 2 months later, a Kickstarter video ready to go, and boom, the Kickstarter. People wanted the game. But big ambitions can become reality's burden, so let's talk about what really happened. Now, that initial fundraising happened. He raised well over $100,000 between the 3 Indiegogo campaigns. In 2018, he added subscriptions, additional ways for backers to give him money, FOMO, selling skins for a game that's not out yet, which is pretty wild. In 2019, the first playable build of Em-8er was available for the backers. Now, that wasn't the playable mock-up that was promised. Essentially a tech demo and then a bunch of weird tech demos. Not what people were expecting, but they're patient. Those poor folks. Things went very quiet from December of 2021 until April of 2024. Grums took 2 years off and didn't really say anything until he got called out about it. But he continued to try to raise money. We know in September of 2021 that he had at least 1,500 subscribers. If he kept around that number for 2 years, that's well over $250,000 raised when he wasn't even working on the game. Where did that money go? It's definitely a little wacky to push the crowdfunding pretty hard for a game that you're not currently working on, and coming across as a little deceptive on what's actually going on. He's selling backer packs as well as FOMO skins for a game that's not out. When I say skins, they're JPEGs. But you instead were delivering chapters to a novel as well as a tabletop game, and the novel, it's real bad. Now, it's not Debbie Chan Foxy Fighter real bad, but it's real bad. And for 2 years, development halted because of family medical issues. The analogy that comes to mind is someone working at home for 2 years, but not actually doing any work and getting paid for it. Some people may characterize that as stealing. In November of 2023, Grums sent out an email saying they're not going to be selling backer packs anymore, but you can upgrade for a few days, and they're going to move to support their enhanced subscription program more. A bit of a pivot. When some early tremors around what was going on with Em-8er began to arise, this was Grums' response.
That's why I invited people to our Discord. It's like, listen, you're not going to believe anything that I say. Go talk to our backers. You know, we've had our ups and downs. People know exactly what's going on. We're very, very communicative with our backers, and they know everything that's going on. Go talk to them. Join our Discord. And our Discord has been so positive and so uplifted by all of this that everyone's excited. So
here's a compilation of very legitimate concerns from backers over the last year, including threats of a class action lawsuit. Blows my mind that he would treat people this way that have given him a fair amount of money. Here's a compilation and sampling of backers' complaints, including a poor old man that's been screwed around.
Nothing beats a Jet2 holiday. And right now, you can save £50 per person. That's £200 off for a family of 4. We've got millions of free child place holidays available, with 22 kilograms of baggage included. now with Jet2 Holidays. Package holidays you can trust. Aptronatal protected.
That's just a sample. The man can't take any criticism, it seems. Like, these are people that have given him money. Numerous backers voicing frustrations, having their concerns unheard, being banned from the Discord. Myself and others never said a word in the Discord and were banned. I suspect, like other paying members that he has banned from the Discord, he wants to mitigate all this information getting out there. The things that he says that he doesn't do, and it's really too much to cover all in this video. Also, remember those discussion forums that Em-8er had? Well, those are all gone now, and some people were pretty pissed off about it. Also, Grumz' website was down for almost 3 months, and I know he wasn't responsive to all requests for cancellations. I mean, one of his crowdfunding campaigns was specifically to make the website and forums. And in April, Grumz sends out an email saying, hey, the last 14 months has been tough. Comms went dark and we couldn't accept support while we regrouped. Based on the information we have, that doesn't seem to be true at all. What's up with the volunteers when he's getting paid? In fact, it looks like Grumz took more than $50,000 from backers over the 14 months, where he claims he couldn't accept any money. Back in August of last year, he was at roughly 40% down from what I'm guessing was his peak at about 1,500. And I anticipate that slowly rolled down over the last year to the number where he's at now. Let's hear what he has to say about that. Asking his backers to go to bat for him.
Please help us rebuild our subscribership so we can get back to the heavy frame. Because remember, we needed to maintain 1,000 subs for the heavy frame, and we're about half that right now. So yeah, we could definitely use some help there.
What kind of goalpost keeps moving that there's a requirement to get to a certain amount of subscriptions in order to move towards that Kickstarter video and the Kickstarter that so many people back in 2017 paid for? But you're telling people in 2025 that you need more money to do that. Here is where yet another lie about money to get more money comes into play. Implying that you honorably couldn't take support while you regrouped while taking a significant amount of support is pretty disingenuous. At a bare minimum of 500 subs, which is likely trickling down from the 1,500 plus that he had in 2021, you're looking at $55,000 over 14 months for a time that he is admitting that communications went dark. We couldn't accept support. That's more than some games' entire Kickstarters, and it's a lie in order to get money. That's my best estimation anyway. That's on top of the 2 years that he admitted taking off while still soliciting for support, when he still hasn't met the goals he made in 2017 to have a Kickstarter video and a Kickstarter in 6 to 8 months from the summer of 2017. And he often tries to argue that he's over-delivered, adding all sorts of features that weren't really within scope. To me, that's like saying you're getting paid to build someone's deck in their backyard, and instead of building the deck, you half build the deck, you mow the grass, you do a whole bunch of other things that they didn't really ask for. And at the end of the day, they still don't have their deck. And people expected more from someone who likes to tout their accolades, such as working on World of Warcraft, calling himself the creator of Firefall, and using that to garner money. I mean, this is the guy the Russian state media has called gaming's most important voice. When his decades of craziness are more akin to a Labubu cross with George Santos, trying to nobly tell people that he couldn't accept support while taking a significant amount of support. Get a job, brother. How much of that actually went towards the development of Em-8er? Towards how much of that actually went to supporting Grums and, well, his life? Who knows? But a massive swath of people who supported the game when there was the original Kickstarter are feeling pretty damn jaded, and that evidence is all over the place. Well, what's happened recently with Em-8er? Not a whole lot. Got a gross looking nighttime map. The water still doesn't work. There's enemies, but the enemy AI is really rough. And it feels like it's still a long ways away. And still, backers are frustrated with the lack of progress, especially when they see his activity on social media. Which you know it consumes a lot of his time. Like dude added an ugly looking drone. And over the last year, a combination of different creators have covered this, and some have been really noticeable in their silence. They have gone into it knowing that they would lose subscribers, doing the right thing for gamers, doing the right thing for consumers, and talking about it. doing the research, double checking, and talking about it. And there's also a group of creators that orbit Grums that feedback may have gone as far as, finish your fucking game, Grums. What else do you expect me to say? And the easy answer to that is call it out with the same veracity that you would anybody else doing this. Some of these creators have their shared paid subscription to Grums on X and wear proudly. It could be construed as condoning this type of behavior, even though you might like what he says on Twitter/X. It really is overshadowed by this real-life scandal. There are no videos defending what happened in the past with Em-8er because it happened and it's really indefensible. I've given Grums a chance to talk like normal people. He's been pretty hostile. Are these creators going to condone what's happened to this point and give Em-8er a good boost? Have Grums on there, let him show it off to their audience? And if you want to do that, go wild, but you really should be telling both parts of the story. And because this is just a successor to a game that was already made, there's also other people doing it and doing it with little to no money. I need to shout out a solo dev, Nexus Drop, who, like Grums, is making a Firefall-inspired game. He has not gotten at least over $500,000 for it, though. I don't know how much money he's gotten, but pretty much nothing. And in a little over 2 years, he's accomplished so much, and it looks great. Mark's doing something, I guess, but will it get to the outcomes that he wants? I don't know. But it's sure interesting to watch him blame everyone else on his failures except himself. Well, I hope you have a better understanding of the last year of Em-8er and where things are at right now. I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.